Okay, guys, this is it. I am back with another video on our beloved series, Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2 has just dropped, and I smashed every episode within one evening. I've got to tell you, I am so taken back by these episodes because moving forward, what I have for you today in this video is I have 4 very shocking predictions on how I think part 3 of season 6 is going to wrap up the show. But I just have to say, I have been rattling my brains for days on end, rocking myself back and forth in the shower, stirring, shouting, cold sweats when I sleep, because I have had theory upon theory upon theory. Now, what I've done in this video is I have narrowed them down to 4 that I think are the most plausible, following, spoiler alert, Quans Death. Now, before we get into those theories, I need to ask you to do something. I want to ask you to invest in this video. What I mean, like and subscribe now. And then, at the end of the video, if you don't like it, take the like back, take the subscribe back, but just in case you forget, subscribe now, like it now, and then, like I said, if you don't like it, all good. Here we go. How is Cobra Kai coming to an end? How can you top what we've just watched? Now, this is not a review video, so I'm going to get straight into the predictions, but I just want to say, following Quans Death, it can go anywhere. It can go absolutely anywhere. I'm sure there are a gazillion theories out there. I've watched a few of them myself on YouTube. But let's start with prediction number 1 of what I think is most plausible moving forward. So theory number 1, the question I asked myself before I came up with this is the Sekai Taikai going to continue? How on earth is this event going to go on when a kid, I believe he was 17, just died? And not only that, when every contestant and every sensei had an all-out war, the judges, the commentators, the staff, probably the cleaners threw a few punches, everyone was in chaos. Do I think it's going to continue? Do you? I do. I think it's definitely going to continue, but 2 big things here. Number 1, I do not believe it's going to be in Barcelona anymore. I think Barcelona and Spain are going to say, jog on, get out. There was a death. They don't want any part of it. I think it's coming to LA, but specifically, I think it's coming to the All Valley Arena. And I'm going to explain why I think specifically All Valley Arena in a minute, but there are a few factors here. Number 1, we need to be in LA. Miyagi-Do's army is there, and we're going to need that army for a prediction that's coming up. We need to be in LA. We need to be around Miyagi-Do. We need to be in a familiar surroundings. 2, I believe after after Quans Death, I believe since the very first episode of Cobra Kai, we know that Johnny Lawrence, we know that this whole Cobra Kai came about because of him and his depression, looking over his shoulder. He has lived a miserable, depressed life because he cannot stop looking over his shoulder and he cannot get over what happened. His loss on the mat to Daniel LaRusso in Karate Kid 1 to the crane kick. So, I believe we saw in the All Valley the innovation where they brought on the girls having their own fight, the guys having their own fight. We've seen innovation on these mats. What innovation do I think is coming to the Sekai Taikai now? I think senseis. I think the senseis are going to have a chance to fight and represent their dojos. Now, I think Johnny is going to fight. I think Johnny is going to fight specifically. The name has actually escaped my head. I apologize. But Axel's sensei, that John Wick of karate, that absolute psychopath, that guy who took on Daniel and Johnny didn't even land a single punch. I think he's going to fight him, and I think he's going to win. Why? 2 reasons. 1, Johnny is more than strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. He is now Miyagi-Do. He is now Eagle Fang. He is now Cobra Kai. He is all 3 of them. He's got everything down, but he's got a lot of heart. But more importantly, I think the show needs to end with Johnny winning the All Valley. It's because he lost. He lived this life of depression. It's because he lost that we are where we are now. The whole thing, Cobra Kai coming alive again, his relationship with Daniel, his drive to actually help his students win on the mat. Everything comes and stems from Karate Kid 1. So wouldn't it be wonderful to see Johnny finally become the All Valley champion again and win? But more specifically, win with the crane kick. It's a thought I can't get out of my mind. Let me know your thoughts below. 2. Theory 2. Now, a question I asked myself for this theory is, why did Quan die? Why Quan? I knew someone was going to die, but I did not think it was going to be one of the students. They're too young. The brutality of it, the twist of it, the fact that he was going to kill Axel, but he fell on his own blade. I could not come up with theories for days. I've been thinking about so many, and this is the theory that I've come up with. And now that I've come up with it, I think it makes most plausible sense. Okay, why Quan specifically? Quan had to die so that the rest of the South Korean team will quit. They'll leave. They've lost Quan, their number one player. They've lost their captain. Tory's not going to continue to fight for them. There's going to be no one in Cobra Kai. They're going to go back to South Korea. Cobra Kai is going to be a hollow brand. Cobra Kai as a brand is still in the competition. It's still there. It's still in the final. But there's going to be no fighters. What does that mean? That means, you guessed it, Johnny Lawrence is going to take Miguel and he is going to fight in the Sekai Taikai for Cobra Kai. Mark my words, because here's the thing. You might be thinking, hang on, why would he do that? Why would he do that to Miyagi-Do? They're all one team. They're all friends. Exactly. Because if they're all in Miyagi-Do, they've got one shot to win. If they're in Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai, they double their chances of beating Axel. They double their chances of beating the Iron Dragons. They double their chances of winning. And more importantly, let me take you back to the conversation that Carmen had with them in the hospital when she laid there and she said, you started this, now you finish it. This adds weight to the idea because Johnny started everything. It was Johnny who brought karate to the Valley in the big way. It was Johnny who revived Cobra Kai and got them back into the All Valley contest. It was Johnny who took these students, these nerds, and turned them into badass fighters. It was Johnny that brought Daniel back into karate to oppose Johnny. It was Johnny who brought Kreese back in, who brought Silver back in, and it all comes from Johnny and Cobra Kai. And I believe that he is going to finish it in Cobra Kai on the mat as the All Valley champion. Let me know your thoughts below. 3. Now, this is an interesting one. So, real quick, if you didn't see it, I released a video in the last batch for the earlier episodes of season 6 saying, what did Terry Silver do to Kumiko? And in that video, I highlighted an idea that he had her abducted or hinted that it was something of that nature. I believe that theory is even more plausible now because we literally saw in episode 2 that Silver had Daniel abducted in Barcelona. He had him hit across the back of the head with a freaking crowbar and locked in a dog cage in basically a kennel. We can clearly see that Silver is not below abductions. We can clearly see that he is down with it. He is okay with doing abductions. Now, Chozen went back to Okinawa and he knocked on the door of Kumiko's house. But who answered? It wasn't Kumiko. It was a man, but a well-built man, a man with a towel around him. And Kumiko was saying, oh, you know, this is her new lover, and he just didn't even look, and he left. What if that's the man who's abducted Kumiko? Because we know that Silver has his connections there. We know that he has connections all over the world, even in Barcelona, gets him abducted before Silver even walks on screen, having this whole little mystery goose chase. We know he can do it. We know he will do it. We know it's not below him. Now, I think that Chozen will find out about it, and I think he'll go back to Okinawa and fight to save her because he loves her, and it would be a beautiful full circle to his character arc. Karate Kid 2, he stood there and dishonoured himself and dishonoured Kumiko when he held the knife to her neck. Imagine now he fights not against her, but for her. But also the love triangle, because now we've got Kim, and I think Chozen and Kim are a better connection. I think they see their relationship is better. I think Chozen might learn to love Kim more, and I think that she will help, but I think this will make the story quite complicated. Now, final prediction, the big one, prediction number 4, all-out war with Master Kim. Another reason I think Quan died is I don't buy it. I don't buy this big, exotic, this idea to venture the script over to South Korea to bring this South Korean army from Master Kim to California in season 5, just to have them all go home when they lost. To then bring them back to have them simply go home because they lost. I think the reason we know Master Kim is still alive is this death, Quans Death, is going to be enough to bring this man, to incentivize this man, to bring his sinister evil strike first, no mercy mind to LA to kill, or in an attempt to take down Miyagi-Do. Because at the end of the day, it was Daniel of Miyagi-Do that has blood on his hands, in the sense he was stood over Quan's body when he flipped him over. If you weren't paying attention, Daniel was the first person to Quan. He was the closest person to Quan. People could believe that Daniel had something to do with it. And I think they'll come for Daniel. I think they'll come for Miyagi-Do. But I think when they do, that will be the all-out war. And I think Kreese is going to fight alongside Daniel and Johnny. I think when Johnny saved saved Kreese against Terry Silver in that all-out brawl, and seeing Quan die by the weapon that Master Kim gave him, I think it's the wake-up call. I think Kreese is going to see that a child has died from Master Kim's methodology. That Kreese's life has been a living hell from Master Kim's methodology. That it's affected every student he's ever had, and it's affected Johnny Lawrence's life. Everyone around him has suffered under the idea of war, war, war. And I think Kreese, for the first time, will fight alongside Miyagi-Do. Not learn Miyagi-Do. There's no time for that. But I think he will at least fight alongside them. And I think Daniel's not going to welcome him with open arms at all. Daniel's going to hate him more than ever. He's going to blame him for the death because he brought the weapon in. But I think if Kreese can fight alongside them and prove he's changed, I think that would be absolutely incredible, especially to see them fight against Terry Silver, who is, and by the way, that's a separate video. That's a separate video coming. But what's happening with Silver? But I think that's the prediction. 4 predictions. 1, Sekai Taikai continuing in the All Valley. Johnny Lawrence taking over Cobra Kai with Miguel, winning it as a sensei. Why Quan died, opening up to that possibility of the war, opening up the possibility of taking over Cobra Kai, and also Chozen's love triangle. Now, I want to hear your thoughts, right? Comment below, let me know. What do you think of these 4 theories? Do you think they're plausible? Do you have theories of your own? Let me know your thoughts, and then what I'll do is I'll reply to each one of them. I'm look forward to seeing it. I'm gonna put this video together, and then the next video is gonna blow your socks off. The next video, I literally watched Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, Cobra Kai seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all over again, and I have seen something, I've seen a pattern that not one single person has mentioned, and it stems all the way back to the first 15-20 minutes of Karate Kid 1, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Until then, see you next time.